Hi, my name's Scott. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about this guitar that I made. Made this in 2000 and it's been modified and in various stages ever since. But it's basically a copy of Brian May's guitar. I really used to drive me crazy not knowing where that guitar sound came from when I listened to those Queen songs because it was so unique. And of course now you can find out just about anything on the internet about that guitar and all the specifications and so forth. But in 2000 that information was just starting to trickle out. So I built this at the time and didn't really have access to all that knowledge that is now readily available to you. But I wanted to point out a few unique features of this guitar, and these are modifications that I've made that I think add something. I've basically modified the guitar to my own personal taste. The first thing you'll notice here is this addition of this roller bar. And what this does is it actually changes the angle of the strings as they go over the bridge. So this sits between the tremolo unit and the bridge. And by changing this angle, what happens is that the strings get a stiffer feel. This does the same thing as a tailpiece on a Les Paul, and if you are familiar with that, you'll know that if you lower that tailpiece, you can make the strings feel stiffer, and if you raise it up, the strings feel squishier. So if you have a Gorilla Touch, like I do, this makes it a little bit easier to keep the guitar in tune if you're going to hit the strings hard. And what also happens is that when you change this angle, in addition to making the strings feel stiffer, you also have to bend them less for any given change in pitch. So I just like the feel of that, and that's why this is there. It definitely is not an authentic addition to the guitar and really changes the look of it. The other thing that I think is unique about this are these push-button switches. And instead of having to slide each individual switch, with these you just touch them and they're on or off just with a single touch. And I think the nice thing is that you can actually change pickup settings just by hitting a few buttons quickly, and it makes it so that you can change settings faster. So if I wanted to go between having these two pickups on to having these two pickups on, instead of turning one off and the other on, I can just touch them both, touch these two outside buttons, and it changes from one setting to the other, and it's done very quickly. The other thing that's different about this guitar is the use of the wood. I didn't really know what wood was in the original guitar, and so the whole body is actually made out of oak, and the oak's been hollowed out so that the guitar isn't ridiculously heavy. But the oak body is covered with a mahogany top, and the mahogany is just it's from an acoustic guitar back, and so it's just glued over the oak body and then finished with the binding and so forth. But this is definitely not an exact copy of the original deal. But I think in terms of sound, it seems to sound pretty authentic to me. And like I said, the goal for me was really just to get to be able to reproduce that sound that I was hearing, and it used to drive me crazy trying to figure out how that sound was made. So a little bit more about this. This bar is made. This is made with a single steel bar. There's these two pieces that are mounted to the guitar. There's a metal bar that goes through those, and then there's another steel tube that goes over that bar, and then there's 6 individual tubes that go over that tube. And so when I use the tremolo, these pieces actually roll, so there's very little friction, and it makes it stay in tune fairly well. Anyway, the only bad thing about this guitar is that I always feel like I'm playing somebody else's guitar because it's it's a Brian May copy. But I tell you, the sound that guy gets is just the best, I think, in terms of the rock guitar sound. So it's been a fun experiment.